So I wanted a circle cutting jig, and rather than using a router I wanted to try using my jigsaw, and that is what this video is about. I need to cut this one into some thinner strips, and I have an idea. If I just make the jigsaw sit in the guide and then clamp it in place and turning it upside down, I should be able to make a sort of temporary jigsaw table. As you just saw, I glued these in place. You don't need to add any pressure to it, they are gonna sit strong enough anyway. Now we have a very snug fit in here, and now I want to add sort of a zero clearance insert like I did on the jigsaw guide. This is our zero clearance insert, and now I'm gonna add a block back here which locks the jigsaw in place. Alright, that fits very well, and by the way, sorry for the lighting. I can obviously see that we have a lot of light coming from this direction, but there's not a whole lot of light coming from this direction, and I apologize for that. But as soon as I get some money to buy new lamps, I will. Now this next step that I'm gonna do is to drill out all the holes so that I can adjust this to whatever size of the circle I want to make. So I guess it looks pretty decent, but I mean I could always make it look a little bit better, because this looks like trash. You know, I rarely use stains because of how messy it is and how it's most of the time not even worth the trouble, but I think for an easier project like this I could do an exception. Now I will let this dry for a few hours and then I'll get back and try it out. It's the next day and I figured that the coating I put on here should help a bit with friction and make the jig slide easier on the cutting material. Well, that was overly dramatic. I think though we got a pretty good result, but I really know that you can't see this 5 or 6 millimeter difference here, but I think that had to do with how I cut way too close to the edge and how I didn't have any support here. If you look closely, you can see that when I came here with the jigsaw, I had no support whatsoever, so I had to hold it with my hands and the thing got twisted and everything. But still I'm pretty happy with the results. I'm gonna try to get this even more round with a bit of adjusting. You know what? It turned out that the blade had not twisted and that was only like the piece that broke off right here, so there was never any real difference. So I have a very round disc right now and I'm very happy with the results, I must be honest. So I did also try on some smaller pieces. Let me show you. We had this one, slightly smaller, and I think it works very great on the small scale as well as on the big scale. Now if I were to make another one of these jigs, the first thing I would do differently is to use some thicker plywood, because let's face it, you have this thin plywood and then the nail can actually swivel around, and that doesn't make for a 100% accurate jig. So but I have an excuse, because the plywood I was originally going to use is stored away for the winter. It's a full sheet and there is heaps of stuff in front of it, so I can't really reach it. You know, partway through I thought that I had failed, because if you look at the bottom here, this, you know, zero clearance insert actually failed on me and it started cutting away to the edge. And that's actually something very important about a jig like this. The blade automatically wants to go to the middle, so it kind of bends. And I had two blades getting destroyed because of this, but I think having this edge here helps out a lot. Now I have a circle cutting jig that works very great and looks very great as well. Thanks for watching.